it takes courage to be our unapologetic selves. Hey y'all, welcome to Meryl's Mystic. I'm Meryl, and I empower witches, bitches, and dudes to complete themselves in order to have healthier soulmate relationships and more purposeful lives. Because I believe that only if you are your own soulmate can you attract the right soulmate, because you are the one that you are looking for. And I'm here to help you do that by helping you tap into the natural cycles of the earth and the stars through astrology and tarot. And I'm also a psychic medium. Thank you so much for being here. If it's your first time, please subscribe. And if you've been here before, welcome back. It's so good to see you. So we are here today to talk about Leo season. And Leo season will start on July 22nd and it goes until August 22nd this year. And then the new moon in Aquarius will be the day after Leo season begins, on the 23rd. And the new moon during Leo season is always in Aquarius, which is actually like a great little highlight to help us get a little bit more into our weird, let your freak flag fly. That's what Aquarius is really good at. And so that's gonna really help us be our best selves. And then the new moon in Leo will be on August 8th. So how was Cancer season? Cancer season really had us digging deep into our feels and trying to align our hearts with our heads. And there was a lot of stuff that we were all moving through. And as I'm recording this, it's still about a week from Leo season, and Mars and Venus and the moon just conjuncted in Leo. So already we're having you have already been experiencing some of the strong Leo energy that really gives us the fire to get up and go and to be courageous and unapologetic in being our best selves. So what does that mean for us? Well, I can tell you already from experience that means that we will be working through some more resistance, because it takes courage to be our unapologetic selves. And that means showing up when we don't always want to show up, or working through our fear, going forward despite our fear. The root word of courage is ku, which is Latin for love, I believe. Just spouting off facts that I hold on to my mind and trust myself to be true. There is, I think it might be the Latin. I think it's the Latin root of courage. It means heart, and you can find the connection in the Spanish word corazón. Also means heart. Mi corazón, it means my love. So there's a lot of connection between our heart and courage, and having courage to go after what we want and to commit to who we are and who we want to be and what our purpose is, because we all have purpose in life, and it is up to us to find and claim that purpose. And Leo season's gonna keep helping us do that. We started in Cancer season. I mean, it's been going throughout the entire year of gearing us up and supporting us in letting go of things that no longer serve us, and really connecting deeply to like what's in our heart and what's in our soul and what we feel like we are being called to do in this life. So the main thing about this Leo season is to be yourself. We're really, if you've seen my Cancer videos, go watch the Cancer videos for your sign. A big thing about Cancer season was accepting who we are, accepting what we want in this life, and also then building boundaries to protect what is most precious to us. And it was all about, it was kind of being more I shouldn't say kind of, there was a big energy of being more selfish, and Leo season is definitely going to help us continue to carry that over, because Leo is really great about being unapologetically themselves and telling people what they think and going after what they want and being who they are. And that's exactly what we all need after we were digging around for our like biggest, deepest dreams. Now we kind of come into the Leo season to really commit to those things. That was another theme that came up, was commitment. I literally pulled one of my cards I pulled today was commitment. one of my angel cards, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's like perfect, because we did so much, you know, deep diving in from Gemini season to Cancer season about who we are, what we want, and what our truths are. And now it's about committing to that and deciding, like, this is what I want, this is who I am, and I'm going to go after it no matter what anybody says. Because nobody can tell Leo nothing how to do. So Leo's really great because not only are they fierce in who they are fiercely loyal. So that's where this commitment piece comes from too. Leo's usually not afraid of commitment. They like having steady people around them. And because there is a certain, like, Leo just has a certain je ne sais quoi about them. I mean, I even put, like, my fancy nails on for you guys. Because I love my Leos. I adore you guys so much. And because the je ne sais quoi. The je ne sais quoi of just being very proud of who they are and taking pride in how they look and how they present themselves. And, you know, it's a balance. My mother's a Leo, so there was definitely some arguments about how I wanted to look and how she wanted me to look, because I was a reflection of her, because I'm her cub, you know? So, but I know she's very proud of me now, and she has been. But there was always a tug of how we came off as a reflection of her. And I know some other Leo mothers that are like that also. And if you are a Leo mother, let me know if you have a Scorpio child, or if you're a Scorpio, let me know if you have a Leo child, because I've met a lot of combinations of that, especially mothers and daughters, and because we are very similar from each other, but we have a lot to learn from each other. And I know my mom and I learned a lot from each other, and still have a lot to learn from each other. This brings me to our tarot card of the season. Strength is the tarot card associated with Leo, and of course there's a lion there. And as I was talking about courage earlier, I always say that I think courage is a better name for the strength card than strength, because anybody can be strong if they need to be, but it really takes courage to work through the fear. And that's really what we're all here for, is to work through the fear of whatever comes up for you, right? Especially in this energy of being our unapologetic selves, a lot of it is the fear of what other people think, and the fear of looking silly or looking stupid or being judged, the fear of being exiled or snubbed, or what's the other word, shunned. And there's a lot of fear still in our world of being hurt and being unsafe. And there's a lot of people out there that fear for their lives every day, and yet they still get up and go and live their life. And it's more than strength. It's courage. Courage is more than strength. You are strong. Leo season is here also to remind us about how strong we are and how courageous we can be. Yeah. So, if you see too, she is connected to the magician. Her and this, our lovely femme woman here, lady, and the magician are the two figures that have the infinity symbol above their head to show that they are magical beings. And she's covered in, foliage and leaves, so she's very abundant. And she is, she knows the strength of the wild beast, and yet it doesn't deter her. Like, look how calm she is. And you know what? I almost wonder if she's one of the queens or an empress or something because she has the crown. I feel like I've seen her somewhere else in the deck. So, strength and courage to be yourself unapologetically. That's what we're doing this season. Cool. Let's get into your tarot scopes and see what Leo season has in store for you. All tarot scope readings apply to your sun, moon, and rising sign. So I always recommend that you cross-watch between your signs so that you can get a full picture of what you might be experiencing. And the intros to all the videos are the same, and I have the tarot scopes time-stamped in each description, so you can just skip that intro after you hear it the first time. Please join me on my Facebook and Instagram for the next live for the full moon in Aquarius, and that will be taking place the evening of Wednesday, July 21st. Hi Sagittarius. So good to see you. So before I push record, I started shuffling for you and focusing on your cute little face. And pretty quickly came the Four of Swords. And when the Four of Swords comes out, it really is about, like, the first message is rest. It's just time for rest. And the theme kind of seems to be that a lot of the lessons from Cancer season are spilling over into Leo season. Excuse me. And I know that, like, I feel like Cancer season is kind of like trying to remind you that, like, you're human, Sagittarius, and you don't have to be positive all the time, and because you're the most positive sign, so people rely on your energy, and so it can be abrasive sometimes, or people can be caught off guard when you're not in that place. But it's okay to be in that place, and I think it's a good lesson for you to recognize when you're in that place, so that then you can take a step back, because it really isn't good for you or anybody around you if you're forcing it, because Sagittarius can't force things. Like, you guys pretty much wear your heart on your sleeve. So it's in the best interest of you and everybody for you to take a step back and give yourself a little time and space and rest. And I know that that's not easy or always convenient for a lot of people, and I know a lot of people have to work a lot, but there are definitely, even when you're a hustler and you're working a lot, you find time for other things. You find time to see your friends. You find time for your hobbies. You find time to be with people you love. So this is about finding a little bit of extra time for yourself and for your own well-being, and so that you can spend time with all the people that you love and all the things that you love to do. Excuse me. So beyond just like regular rest and finding some extra time to rest when you can, there's a big piece of this of creating your own sanctuary and like having like a sacred place for you to be. And again, like not always easy, but but doable if we get creative, you know. Sometimes this, when, you know, if you live in a house with a lot of people and there's not a lot of extra rooms, sometimes the bathroom's got to be your, you know, sacred place. And it might not get to feel that way all the time, but you can put together a little like sacred time recharge battery kit, and it can, you know, you can have it just for you to the side with like candles and salts and all that kind of stuff, and then when you find this sacred time for yourself, you can have something that's just yours, you know. I know the bathroom's kind of the go-to because it's a lot of times it's like the only room in the house with a lock on it. So, and that's usually when I'm in a space. Excuse me. I seem to have like a little frog in my throat or something. I can feel it. I don't know if this is like, if I'm picking up something from somebody, because it just isn't quite going away. And that could be part of it too, is that you just need to take a step back so you don't have to talk to anybody. You know, maybe it's time, you know, to do some hobbies where you don't have to talk to anybody. Excuse me. It was not going away. So the bathroom kind of being a sacred space when there's no other sacred space around. Or even like your car. My car was my safe space for a long time when I was, you know, living in between places or living with lots of people or with my family. A lot of time my car was the only place that I could, you know, be with myself and just listen to my music or you know, scream or cry or do, you know, make phone calls where I wouldn't get interrupted. So this is kind of about, it's feeling like you need like some uninterrupted just time for yourself if you haven't been able to give that to yourself. You know, you don't have to answer the door when somebody's at it. You don't have to answer the phone when the phone rings. You don't have to text people back right away. Stuff like that. You know, Cancer season was trying to get us to be a little bit more selfish, and Leo season really is coming up with like this prioritizing ourselves. Interesting. 3 of Swords in reverse. This is interesting because usually, like, if a card is reverse, it can, not usually, I should say sometimes, if a card is in reverse, it can reference the card before it. But it's like, again, it's like we're going backwards, which I find myself saying to almost all the signs at this point, is that there's some things from our past that is coming up again. And it could, I mean, that could be very well be within the energy. I haven't had a chance to look too deeply into it. But with the 3 of Swords coming up after the 4 of Swords, it's kind of like, okay, if you're having trouble finding this time for yourself and resting, then what's standing in the way of that? And it seems to be like some sort of past hurt that has instilled a mindset in you that makes you think that maybe you don't deserve it, or you don't, or like convincing you don't have the time. You know, there's a lot of things I think that we convince ourselves like have to be done, and in fact we use that as like an excuse to not do certain things. And I've done that lots of times. Before we got a dishwasher, I would use doing the dish, like the dishes had to be done, and I would actually use that as an excuse to procrastinate working on my business. So what are these things that have happened to you in the past, or what are these things that you feel like you have to take care of, that are actually just kind of excuses to procrastinate the real work? So there's like this time of rest, and I, you know, I've seen a couple things that are like, well, rest is a privilege, which it is, for sure, but at the same time, it shouldn't be a privilege. It should be a requirement, because if you don't ever rest, then how are you going to keep going, you know? And are there things that can probably wait to be done, so that you can rest? And are there and what are the things that actually need to be done, so that you feel like your rest was productive? It's like a productive rest. I hope that makes sense. A purposeful charging of the batteries. Because I'm hearing that you risk being a martyr right now. And that might mean something to somebody, you know. I'm sure it means something to somebody, but possibly not everybody, but the two of these cards, the way they position, kind of feels like you're resting on your laurels, and you shouldn't do that either. Yeah, it just feels like there's a lot of excuses coming up from everybody. Like, well, yeah, I know I need to do that thing, but I gotta do all this stuff instead. And I think if we were really honest with ourselves and looked at these things that we're saying are getting in the way of what we should be doing for ourselves, that, you know, it's kind of like the things that society thinks that we should be doing are not actually what we should be doing. And if we trusted our intuition and spirit, then we would figure out what we're actually supposed to be doing. Like, yeah, you gotta do laundry, but I'm sure there are times where you have enough underwear for the next couple days and the laundry can wait. You have enough plates that are clean, and, you know, I mean, sometimes it can't wait, but I'm talking about those times when we use those things, the you know, the adulting things, as excuses to not actually, like, sit down for a minute and rest your little head. The Star in reverse. It just feels like more confirmation. There's a disconnect going on with you guys, and like it feels like you're disconnected. Like all of a sudden it's, you know, for a lot of you, I'm sure something has happened where you're going along, you thought you knew what was going to happen, and it changed. And all of a sudden the future is not what you think. But this is not the time to, like, This is not a time or situation or energy to pull yourselves up by your bootstraps. You need to be much more gentle on yourself, Sag, than that. Because the things that are happening are big, and if you're not heeding these lessons and taking the time, there are big changes on the way, and Spirit and the universe just wants you to be prepared, and this is how they're going to prepare you, because you really risk this disconnection if you don't stop and recharge your batteries. You risk the disconnection not being temporary. You know, if you dig your heels in too much on your reasons why you can't take this time for yourself, then you risk the disconnection being way more long-term than you're expecting. It's going to be another one of those things where it's like you thought it was going to turn out this way and it's not. You know what I mean? Because things turn around pretty quickly for you, usually, Sag. I mean, not to say that, like, bad things don't happen to you, but for the most part, your guys' like positive karma like comes back around pretty quickly. But this is kind of a moment in time where you risk, if you're not listening to the messages, then you risk it not coming back around. It's kind of like, you're falling, like, okay, so what just happened was supposed to show you that, like, things don't always work out the way we think they will. And then you kind of fall back to this pattern of, like, well, I'll bounce back from this eventually, or, like, I'll just, like, pick myself up and carry on like I always do, and I'll make it. I'm making it. That's a disco song. I'm making it. No, Sag. It's gotten to the point where so many big things have happened, and you haven't actually taken time to, like, sit and fully heal from them, that there's, like, a new risk here. And they don't want you to, like, fall into these old patterns that are very easy to fall into for you, because then you're risking, like, a complete disconnection from your soul and your purpose and your path, and you can't just pick yourself up by your bootstraps this time. Like, I'm sorry, you can't. Like, it's time to sit in the shadow a little bit more, and it's time to kind of really look at some shit so that you can really heal it. And you're not the only ones. This is going around. And I'm just here to deliver these messages in a kind but hopefully firm way that you trust what I'm saying, because if you don't listen to it now while it's coming across gently, as gentle as possible, things will come around way harsher, when you don't listen. And there's a risk here for the rug being pulled out from under you. And that's the second time I've said that now. For, I can't remember what other sign it was. Might have been Leo. So if you have some Leo in your chart, go check that out. Yeah. Because when the star comes up in reverse, it's especially kind of in like a future position, because there's like a risk. It's just saying that there's a risk here if you treat this thing the same way as everything else that you've been through, because it's like starting to weigh on you. And if you don't take care of it now in the right way, it's going to pop up later, and it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be in the right way. Holy crap, you guys. Oh my god. Okay. So we had the Star in reverse, and I was just curious about, you know, what the next couple cards are, and this should show you how serious this is. I want to tell you this kindly because I love you, and I want, you know, I don't want to be condescending or anything like that, because you're very smart, Sag, but it seemed a little, you know, it was like, oh, rest, okay, oh, but there's this thing that's getting, oh, and then there's this risk, and then it's, after that was the Empress, so with the Star, that was our first major arcana, then with the Empress in reverse, so again, this is confirming that you're not taking care of yourself as well as you should. That's going around too. And then Justice, another major arcana, which is also Libra. Balance. So there's balance on the way. This is meant to balance you. There's balance on the way if you listen to the messages, if you heed the lessons. This is meant, you know, to wake you up. Hey, we're not as connected to our purpose and to, you know, the universe as much as we thought we were. Hey, like, you need to take care of you need to get connected. You need to take care of yourself, because we need you to be balanced. We need you to be on your path of purpose. The Chariot is the next one. And it kind of did this nice, like, the first cards are gray, and then the Star has more of a blue theme, and then we have a lot more yellow theme, because then we have the Sun. This is leveling you up. There is some serious leveling up energy happening right now, but you can't do that in behaving and acting the same way that you did, like, it just doesn't work that way. New levels, new devils, but like, it's because you're moving beyond who you are now. You're beyond now who you were then. So you can't, sometimes you have to completely change how you are thinking of things and thinking of yourself and viewing how things move along. And this is one of those times that they're really trying to, like, shake you up and be like, hey, we can't do it the way that we've been doing it. Like, they're coming in to help you. And to have, you know, to get these kind of, this serious message, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 4 major arcana following the one major arcana. This is major. Having that many major arcana come up is major. This is meant to shake you up, because it is trying to level you up, to take you to the place that you're supposed to get to, the place where you want to go. And that's what's happening. We've all been asking for these things. We've all been asking for change. We've all been asking for, like, you know, our dreams to come true and to be happier and more fulfilled in our lives. And we're getting answers. They just might not be the answers that you really like or want right now, but they're the answers that you need. And I've definitely had same situations where I was talking to a friend of mine, and it was kind of like, we had a moment where we're like, hey, we asked for this answer and we got it. It's just not the one that we wanted, unfortunately. And now we have to sit here and be like, okay, well, this is where we are now. So what are we going to do next? And how are we going to do this differently? And because it's Leo season, how are we going to do it without worrying about what other people think, without worrying about the people pleasers, and without and while being unapologetically ourselves. Because that is why Cancer, like, and even Taurus season too. I know we had Gemini season in there too, but like there's been this energy of boundaries with others, boundaries with ourselves. So that we can then be safe and have the structure to grow. Okay, I'm pulling you a Mystical Shaman Oracle card by Alberto Villoldo and Colette Baron Reed and Marcelo Lobos. Ooh, this is the first card. I don't know. I feel like I've only pulled this like once, and I've had this deck for a long time. The Ancient Ones. Ooh. The Ancient Ones. I'll read the invitation because it's upright, but I'll look at the medicine. Usually if it's in reverse, we read the medicine. Lately, everyone's kind of been needing all of it, so we'll see how it goes. The Essence. The Ancient Ones are the shamans of old who defeated death and escaped from the tyranny of time. The Ancient Ones once walked the earth like us, in flesh and bone. Now they reside in infinity and can counsel us after we say yes to our calling. They are available to help us attain our full realization. Hello. The Invitation. The Ancient Ones are inviting you to reach to the future to help birth a new destiny for the earth. See, I told you were needed. Go ahead. Find out who you are becoming 10,000 years from now. If you accept the invitation, great power and blessings will come your way and allow you to craft a new destiny for yourself. Do not hesitate to bite off more than you can chew because you have unlimited spiritual resources available right now. Ooh, interesting. It's interesting. Bite off more than you can chew spiritually and emotionally. I stand by the fact that a lot of you still need to do some resting, purposeful resting. Let's read the medicine. The Ancient Ones beseech you to examine your attitudes and actions. That's also good. And be sure that they are of the highest integrity. Not forgiving an ancestor or yourself is keeping you from the freedom you seek. Remember, this is no longer your karma. You can break the chains that once bound you to the family drama and be free of your generational curses. Forgive the ones you need to release. Honor your biological ancestors by lighting a candle to them tonight. This is not the only... There's a whole different ancestor card in here that came up for Scorpio. Because we're all being kind of asked to look into our past to see how it's affecting us now so we can heal it now so that we can break the cycle so we can move forward into a new, different, brighter future. Because if we don't, it is literally the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, except expecting a different result. Now is the time to change the action to change the result. And not only your spirit guides are coming forward, your ancestors are coming forward to help you also. And you are here to break the generational curses from your family line. So think of even how the mistakes of your parents, the mistakes of your grandparents, how has that affected you now, and how are you breaking those curses? I know a few people who have chosen just not to have children, to just not continue, to literally not continue a family line. I know a family that has 4 children in them, and none of them are having children. Because they're just like, we're doing okay for ourselves, but there was just so much that happened in their family line. They're like, this is it, we're done. How brave is that? How courageous, especially in our society, that just pushes you to procreate. So what are you gonna do? All right, Sag, I talked way longer than I thought I was going to. Apparently you needed all the readings and answers and messages. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you for Virgo season. Let me know what resonated with you, and if you need anything else, all my links are attached. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you next season. Bye.